What's going on, everyone? Gamal Kadner here with another really cool video. We decided to do a series this time, so we're going to do a couple of videos on how to make millions in e-commerce this year for 2024. This is if I was doing it from scratch, which, by the way, my non-compete's up, so more than likely we will be launching a new brand this year. So this is essentially my playbook for doing it all over again, starting from scratch with all the changes that happen now. This is exactly how I would build a brand from scratch to 100K per month in 2024. This is kind of dense, so instead of just talking to camera on this lesson, I'm actually gonna bring up my computer and show a couple of things to make it make more sense, all right? The first thing is, you gotta assess where you're at in life. And so some of you have a goal that you have not hit yet. Let's say you're at 20, 30, 40K a month and you'd like to get to 100,000 a month. There's essentially a gap between where you are right now and where you'd like to be. And so the first thing is recognizing which side of the equation you're in. Is it that you have too many ideas and options to hit your goal? Too many strategies? Is it TikTok? Is it YouTube? Is it TikTok shops? Is it Facebook? Is it still Instagram? Is it Reels? Is it pop-up shops? Is it retail? Is it Shopify? Is it Amazon, right? We're all over the place with our ideas. And the reality is some of them may work, but doing all of them at the same time will just leave you in confusion. The other part of the equation is you may have this goal and you might be starting off, or you may be doing 30,000 in Amazon and you want to start Shopify. You don't even know where to start by building your community. So depending on where you're at, whether it's on the left side or the right side of the equation, the important thing to know is you need a strategy to take you from where you are to hit your goal, regardless if you have too many things to do or nothing at all. And strategy is just another word. I heard Alex Hormozi say this, another word for just figuring out of all the things that you have to do with the very limited resources. It's just learning how to allocate your limited resources with your unlimited options of things to do. And so for me, I more so are over here with a whole bunch of ideas. I'm a visionary, so I always have new shiny objects. And the thing I have to remind myself is to tell myself no and stick to the plan. And so what I found out is typically there's always one strategy that is way easier to hit your goal. And sometimes it may even get you off the page. And so part of the benefit in coaching over 55, 6 and 7 figure founders over the past 2 years, and also doing it for myself, building a 7-figure brand from scratch, is I've seen a lot of strategies, some that work, some that sucked, and some that worked really, really well. And so what I'm going to do today is just show you how to just start from here and go off the paper to hit your goals faster, more predictably, right? Let's start with something that is really interesting. E-commerce is actually a Ponzi scheme. It sounds weird, but I remember being in a scenario where I had just placed my biggest order of the life of our business, and I was doing really well, having really great, crazy days. And then this happened. My ad account got disabled, and I realized in that month, even though I was doing 6 figures, I had almost 6 figures in just Amex debt, not to mention Chase, employees, overhead, like all the other things that were still there added up to almost, over 6 figures. And so just 95K in credit cards, I realized I only had 2 months of cash left in the bank. And it was so wild because I was making all this money, but I realized at that time, e-commerce is really a Ponzi scheme because you have to take money today to predict what you'll sell in the future. And so you have to front a lot of this inventory, right? So if you're at 30K today and you want to do 100K in 3 months, you got to 3x your business. So you got to buy 3x the amount of inventory that you're selling currently on today's profits. And in 2 to 3 months when it gets here, you got to hope that in that time, your ads will ramp up and that you'll be able to sell through it. So a lot of people make mistakes in that they make too big of a bet on the inventory. So they put all this money up on day one, and in 3 months when they get it, they may or may not be in a position to sell through all of that, right? But in my case, I was actually selling through all of that. So as I was going from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 150K per month, whatever, and I kept buying more and more inventory, my current sales made me not realize that all that money I was reinvesting and coming back was a gamble I kept betting and betting each time. So when I lost my ad account, that prevented me from being able to generate sales. And I realized all this money I thought I was making, I really don't have it because I put a lot of the profits right back into inventory. The weird part about it is I didn't even have the inventory yet. It was like an order that I recently placed and an order I just got. So I was getting large inventory orders. Some of it I didn't even have it. I was getting in 2 months and I needed to make more sales. So it's a weird feeling, but one of the clients I work with says sometimes she makes a lot of money and she doesn't even know if she's broke or rich. And so that is an unfortunate truth. So the main thing is I want to take you here to a CEO dashboard that I have where this takes care of all of our important KPIs, right? So the first thing is if I wanted to scale, I need to know my key KPIs, key performance indicators, the numbers that are going to get me to the goal. Because hitting 100K per month really is a formula. And so I'm not going to bore you with all the numbers, but it takes like the number of orders I had in this particular month, revenue, by far not the best revenue month. But the thing I wanted to show you is that we eventually rebuilt our business up and kept building slowly instead of fast. And I can't share the exact numbers because our business got acquired and, you know, they don't really like sharing exactly how much the numbers were for their privacy. And so I can't. But one thing I can tell you is that on the 109 I made in revenue, I made 50,000 in profit. And this is considering ad spend, cost of products, overhead, all that stuff, discounts. I had a 46% profit margin. By far not the biggest revenue month, but in order for me to hit this 50,000 that I took home, I would have had to do 350,000 in prior months. So I started rebuilding my business up with profit in mind versus revenue, and I understood what numbers to look at. So every day when I logged in, I would be able to see what my actual business was doing at a high level real quick. And so the first thing I would do this year is figure out what KPIs I need to track. And the second thing is realizing that I'm not in the business of scaling revenue. I'm in the business of profit. So if I want to build back a $100,000 per month business, but that's only at a 10 or 15% profit margin, I am much better off building a 60,000 or 70,000 per month business with a 46, 50% profit margin. Even though my screenshots won't look that great on Instagram, even though I can't brag as much, I will keep more money. And that's the first important mistake I see a lot of people doing. They're chasing revenue instead of profit. The other thing that is super important is realizing that in the game of business, especially in e-commerce, there's so many moving parts, right? You can make something so complicated that you hide the problem, or so simple that the problem is exposed. I talk to a lot of founders that are juggling a bunch of different hats and they're all over the place. And a lot of the times when their business isn't working or they're struggling to hit their goal, they don't really know what they should do to fix it. It's because they're spread too thin and they're all over the place. And so the main thing I would do is start with a very simple product, a very simple community, and try to find one community to sell one product to that you can eventually scale to $50,000 or $100,000 per month. And let me break that down with our one-page kind of business model. Essentially, e-com is a combination of marketing, finances, and operations. All of them have to be working in sync, right? It's almost like a tripod. If marketing scales too fast, if you go from 30 to 100K, but you no longer have the finances to support the new inventory orders now that you're triple the price, or if you don't have the fulfillment team or the manufacturing capabilities to keep up and you get behind on orders, you're going to get bad reviews and your numbers are going to tumble. So anytime you grow one, the others have to grow with it. And so first we're going to start with marketing because that's the most important thing. Marketing is the most important thing. And so the key with marketing here is that you want to first start with person, pain, promise, and figure out what person you're going to be meaningful to, what pain they have in their lives that they're solving for with products, and what promise you can make. So when we started our business that got acquired, we sold grooming products to high performance men that wanted a nicer beard without patches, right? And so that was our simple promise. They were buying a bunch of stuff, painting their beards, doing a bunch of things, trying to fill in their beards to make it patch free. So when I go to start the business again this year, I'm going to look, what community of people do I think I could help, or who am I interested in? Who do I have good knowledge about? Who would I not mind hanging out with over the next 3, 4, 5 years? And what pain do they have, right? Let's take, for example, is it women that are older, right? And they're struggling with pro-aging or anti-aging, right? As their body and skin changes, they're having to make not only emotional adjustments, but like actual adjustments to the products they use and the things they use in their skin. And so like a pro-age skincare line for women over 50 may be a niche, right? And so start by thinking person, pain, promise. And on the marketing side, a lot of people skip the foundations and head straight into strategy and tactics. So tactics are thinking about, man, I want to get my reels popping, or I need a really dope photo shoot to get my website up, or what influencer marketing stuff am I going to do? They skip right to tactics. These are the things that are popular right now, but in 6 months they're ever changing, and they skip the foundations. You can get to 50,000 a month, even 100,000 a month in an e-com brand by only focusing on the foundations. And some examples of foundations are things like this, right? Do you have a 3P statement, person, pain, promise? Do you have a clear, differentiated product that a specific people want to talk about and need in their lives? Do you have a community funnel, right? How many people know about your product? How many people know about your page? You want to have a system for constantly finding your best customers, or really thinking about it the other way. You want to have a system for your best customers to find you all the time. They want to find your content, find your social, find your website, and most importantly, find and purchase your product. Do you have a reason for starting this product? What's your founder story, right? While we ran our brand, we realized that the highest converting page was our story page, where we talked about why we created it, our struggle dealing with this problem ourselves, and how we started building the product out and how it has been well received. I mean, like 4 times the amount that just going to our homepage. And so we created a funnel where before people were introduced to our product and hard sold, they knew the backstory about why we're doing this and what we're here for, so they can have a better connection with us, right? Are you omnipresent, right? What I mean by that is, instead of figuring out Instagram or TikTok ads or influencer marketing, you need to figure out who are your most important customers, your 3Ps, and where do they hang out at? That's the most important part. Any strategy could work. You just need to be everywhere that they are so they can find you. You don't want to be hard selling people and bothering them and annoying them. You want to position your brand to be there so that your ideal customers can find you easily. So that's the next thing. And then the most important thing is really the 2X formula. We've been able to double the majority of our clients' businesses just by implementing the 2X formula. And I'm going to break it down for you right here. Essentially, there are only 3 ways to grow. The first way is to get more customers, control how often they buy, and to control how much they spend every time they buy from you. That's it. There's no other way to grow your business. So if you're currently at 30, 40K per month and you want to get to 100K, skipping everything I said in the video and only focusing on this is going to be key for you. As long as you understand clearly who your product serves and what community you're serving, this next step is key. Because instead of figuring out, how can I find new customers, shift that focus to how can I convert more of the people who visit my website. And that is a key here, because this screenshot you see, we had 113,000 unique visitors to our website per month, and we did 109. I started slowly implementing this stuff with my old brand, started slowly implementing the stuff I'm sharing you here, but look what happened. A following month, we dropped all the way down to 80,000 visits per month, right? All the marketing efforts we were doing, we stopped doing a bunch of that and found more of our ideal people. So we had a 30% drop in visits, but our revenue actually increased. Why is that? That's because I realized that you don't really need new customers all the time. You just have to learn how to convert your existing customers more. And so the other thing is how often they buy. Instead of focusing on just being transactional and only worrying about how someone buys once, have a system in place to get them to come back and buy more and more times throughout the year. So instead of finding new customers, convert more of them. And after they convert, instead of only having a transaction from them once a year, bump that up to 2 or 3 times. And then the other thing is how much they spend. So instead of just offering one product for 50 bucks, figuring out how you could get them to spend 60 or 75 bucks. And if you grow each of these things by 30%, you double your business. Let me show you. If you have 100,000 visitors at a 1.5 conversion rate, that's about 1,500 customers, and they spend $50 each time they spend with you. That's $75,000 in monthly revenue, right? So numbers is scale in revenue is by the numbers. You just need a certain number of people checking out your product, a certain number of them convert, and how much they spend, right? 75 grand. Now, if everything stays the same, but you just increase your conversion rate by 30%, so you get 1.95% of your visitors to convert, that's 1,950 people. They still spend 50 bucks. Now you're up to $97,500. And now if you keep the conversion rate the same and just increase your average order value by 30%, all of a sudden you're at $126,000. So you went from 75 grand to $126,000 by not increasing your marketing spend, by simply just focusing on improving your conversion rate and giving them a better offer to buy more things when they check out. So if I were starting over a brand from scratch with just marketing, these are the main things I would focus on first. 3 P's, community, and dialing in my conversion rate, my average order value, and my lifetime value. Let me show you some examples of how this is key. One of our clients said they had their biggest sales day of all time, and we had higher sales with the same marketing spend, just higher conversion rate and higher average order value. They're doing the 2X formula. This is the red dot that takes you past your goal, right? Instead of worrying about social media strategy and all the other things, you could simply just focus in on doubling your business just by those 3 things. How much easier is it to focus on, instead of learning a social media strategy, chasing trending reels, figuring out how to dance on TikTok, creating content, how much easier would it be if you just locked in and figured out how to boost your conversion rate from 1.5 to 1.95, and instead of offering them one thing for 50 bucks, you offer them an additional thing for another $15. Because that's exactly what we did, right? Receipts, every success leaves clues. And so our conversion rate in 2019 was a 1.3, and then I got it up to a 4.85, really by doing some very simple things. One, on mobile, people don't know how to offer a discount or don't know where to put in the discount. And so by simply adding this code right here to edit it to let them know you could also click here to put your discount code in, and giving them an additional discount really helped boost my sales. The other thing I did was, let's suppose, for example, that you have a physical retail store. A customer just runs in, or a potential customer just runs in, and they're like, hey, my Uber's out in 2 minutes. I need something for this party I'm going to, right? I need an earring or some jewelry. What do you have for me? You as a founder know, of all the 30, 40 products you have, which thing that if you show this person, you have a higher likelihood to convert them, right? It's your best seller. It's the thing all your customers rave about. You would go and get your best product and show it to them because you really only have 2 minutes. You wouldn't show them the thing that's been sitting in the shelf collecting dust for the past year. Thing is, in our website, we really only have less than 2 minutes to convert a customer. And the reason our conversion rate's all over the place is because you know, and if you don't know, look at the data, some of your products actually convert higher than others. So in that example, when I had my conversion rate at a 1.3, what I realized is that when some people looked at one product, that was actually a 5% conversion rate. When they came and looked at another product, that one was actually below a 1.3, and it just kind of averaged out. So one of the most important things I did, and it is just showing them the thing that converted the most, right? Taking my online brand and thinking about it as if I was actually in retail, or at a trade show and people were coming up to me and I only had one shot to convert them, I started showing them my highest attractive, my highest, most converted product first. And after they became a customer, I sold them all the other stuff. So simply thinking about that strategy is what I would do now. And that's kind of why I say one product to 100,000 per month. It's not that you only need one product, but you need to lead with one product first of all the products you have. The other thing is LTV. Here you can see we launched a subscription program and we had 3,300 members in it. And here you can see a screenshot from only 1,000 customers. We did a 1.4 mil on those 1,000 customers. But what you can see is some of our customers bought from us 46 times. We had hundreds, thousands of people who bought from us over 10 times. And so between our membership program and things like our email flows, here you can see our monthly revenue kept going up. So this month we did about 138 and 44K came from our email automations. Email campaigns. 10K came from our automation. So this is something that we set up once and just always sent emails out based on if people looked at a product, based on if people bought that hit record first, right? This is our best converting product. And then we wanted to upsell them into something that is not our hit record. Here you see our SMS campaigns. We did $199,000 for the year in just flows. So between our SMS campaigns and our email flows, both flows were doing $320,000 for the whole year. So we're making $25,000 to $30,000 per month just on flows. And in addition to that, our membership program, right? If I was starting off from scratch and I wanted to do it in the simplest way possible, what would I do to start? And that is exactly what I would do. That's the process I would do first. Instead of jumping around and trying to figure out what tactics or what strategies I would be doing, I would simply just take an inventory and be like, am I maxed out on the fundamentals of my business, right? Is there something that I could be doing that's easier that compels more growth? Because the thing about the fundamentals is if you get that right, you increase your conversion rate, you increase your average order value, that keeps going. If you invest that time in, let's say TikTok, right? Let's say you've been doing TikTok for 3 months. Now all of a sudden, we just heard that the audio has been pulled. And so now whatever work you've been doing on TikTok, now you got to go figure out a new strategy. If you would have reinvested that time into a foundation versus a tactic and increase your conversion rate and increase your average order value to double your business, that is the gift that kept giving. You don't have to remember or tweak with that again, right? And so just have an inventory of how you're spending your time and realizing that there are much easier ways to build up the foundation of your business and double your business this year. So this is the first part of the series where we're covering marketing, foundations of marketing. The next video, we're going to cover the foundations of cash flow and finances, because as you grow and triple, now you're going to need triple the purchase orders, triple the cash flow, triple the access to capital, and your bills are going to get 3 times as expensive, right? And so we're going to cover that, because you cannot build $1 million business this year without having proper foundations around your profit, your loss, and your cash flow, and how you're going to fund your growth. So that other video would be somewhere else on the channel, probably linked below here. And I hope this was valuable. Drop some comments below and let me know what you think. And as always, we are dropping MBA level education every single week on how to build a 7-figure business. So go ahead and like and follow the channel to stay up to date on more releases every week. All right? Peace.